Don't hate from outside the club if you can't get in. Don't rain on our parade. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And yes, I have the shirt on again. The famous shirt that I wore at Vegandale. We are here to give you our fully raw vegan review of Vegandale 2024. I'm
Yes.
Mike.
I'm Alex.
We are annoying vegans. We bring you perspective, validation, laughs. So, Alex, what did you think about Vegandale this year?
It was pretty good. It's kind of familiar, right? So they had the stage, they had the art installations, they had the food vendors, some merchandise vendors, some freebies. There was nothing really too new. But if anything, I could say the biggest change was that it was just smaller than it was last year. So a lot less of everything. And obviously, when it comes to like the stage, currently the stage area was like VIP only. So I did not have a VIP ticket. I did not get to see or go toward the stage. But to me, this year's Vegandale was, like I said, something familiar, just smaller and not as diverse as far as like options as it was like the years prior. But overall, I would say it wasn't too bad. It wasn't crazy bad, and it wasn't as bad as I initially thought it may be.
Okay, yeah. Speaking of that, like the initial thoughts going into it, New York Vegandale was 2 weeks prior to Dallas, and it got a lot of blowback. There were people who had passed out because of overheating, and there was no shade. They had moved it from a large venue from the prior years to a smaller one this year. And Dallas was under the same circumstance where they moved it from a bigger to a smaller place, so that had me a little bit worried. But yeah, in New York it was so bad. The trash was overflowing, the waters, the refill stations were empty, and like I said, people were really hot, and they were leaving 1-star reviews for Vegandale on Google. They were leaving angry comments in the Vegandale Instagram that Vegandale had to block their comments. And so there was just a lot of blowback. So much so that when Vegandale made their post about Dallas, that's when they announced the performers and the vendors a couple of days before the event starts. People were already kind of going in. First of all, because we don't get a rapper. We never get a rapper. So we don't get a performer. I don't know what people have against Dallas, but yeah, it was just Scott Bernhard and the DJ, and they're both very good, phenomenal. I love the energy that they always bring, but we never get a rapper or hip hop artist and R&B, like any kind of musician. We never get them in Dallas. So some people bought VIP tickets, and they were upset that they weren't going to get the performer because, as you mentioned, you had to get a VIP ticket in order to access the stage this year. So they were naturally upset. They were leaving some comments about it, some feedback about it. And then I think you had people from outside the state just kind of commenting saying, "Oh, you're still going to Vegandale?" Or like, "Are you still going to bring non-vegan rappers?" Or just things that they were upset about in the other cities they were commenting in Dallas about. And that's when I quote Chris Brown and say, don't hate from outside the club if you can't get in. Don't rain on our parade. I tried to go into this event with a positive mindset because there's no use going to it just thinking negatively, because the vendors are there. You don't want to bring that negative energy onto the vendors or to the Vegandale staff that's working there or to Scott Bernhard and the DJ and everyone else. Like, they're still there. They're still trying to put on a good event. So we went and we tried to bring our best positivity to the event. So shortly after those comments, Vegandale disabled their comments. So I have mixed feelings about it in a sense. I wish they would listen to the people who are upset about the VIP. I would be too if I bought the ticket and you don't tell us who's performing until couple of days before the event, maybe the night before. But on the other hand, I understand not wanting the piling on from people, especially people outside of Dallas. I was hoping that they would be willing to listen to our feedback from the survey. They sent out a survey after Vegandale, and it was basically just like demographic information. Are you vegan? What's your gender? How much do you make? And are you going to Vegandale next year? Where do you live? No opportunity to leave any feedback because I would have left some feedback about the VIP. I would have said, that's all part of the experience is to go and dance and vibe with the music. And it's pretty silly that we weren't able to go there at all. I would have said, hey, bring us there in shifts. My suggestion would have been give everybody like an hour, like group XYZ gets to go into the VIP area for an hour during this set time. It's better than nothing. Another friend of mine said maybe do like a $5 entry fee for an hour at this time, enter through this way, exit through this way. There could have been many ways to get people to go up to the VIP stage area without having to pay the VIP prices because it looks weird I mean, it's imagine being a DJ and playing to an empty crowd because
Yeah.
not a lot of people bought VIP tickets.
Right. And
So
it's like it wasn't that there wasn't enough people there, right? So there was a lot of people that ended up going to the festival. It was pretty packed, pretty full. So they had the audience there, but for some reason they wanted to exclude like 95% of the people that were there. So that was weird.
yeah. But on the other hand, there were things about it that I enjoyed. Well, first of all, I liked that there was a significant amount of shade at Clyde Warren Park. So we didn't run into the problem that they had in New York where people were just overheating very hot and no shade. We had plenty of water at the refill station. I think it was easier to find the vendors because if your vendor's not in this row, they're in the next row. That's it.
Mm,
Very intimate setting. You're trying to find your friends who are coming into the event. If they're not in the next row, if not in this row, maybe they're in the line. You can look and you can basically see everybody who's in line. So
right.
you could see everything. It was very intimate space. I did have a little trouble finding the props because they were in the back, but I'm somebody who kind of explores. So I was looking and I was able to eventually figure out how to get back there. So yes, it was small. I'm not upset, obviously, that it was up the street. We all just walked there, so that was cool. I understand people who don't live in Uptown Dallas would have had a problem finding parking, so I understand that. But I didn't mind that it was so small. I still had fun. I still enjoyed myself. I still vibed with my friends. What did you think about? So I know you said there wasn't, you don't feel like they've kind of changed up the food. What did you think about the food that you did get this year, though?
Yeah, so the food I got this year, and I was trying to figure out, like in my mind, obviously I wanted to plan ahead of time, but also at the same time, when I got there, the map or the vendors were kind of changed up a little bit. Same vendors that they announced, but just the map was changed up. So the vendors I did end up going to, I wanted to basically see or at least eat or try something that was different or new that maybe I can't find in the area or where I live, or it's something I haven't tried before or at other vegan dales or other festivals. So it was kind of like some type of experimental, okay, let me see how that tastes, or let me see how this tastes, and something I haven't tried before. So it definitely was kind of hit or miss with some of the vendors, but like I would say like overall the food was good. I mean, like I said, there was definitely some dishes where it didn't taste, wasn't seasoned, it wasn't right. Like this is not good. But there was other ones where I was just like, okay, I like this. I would eat this again. I would have this again. Again, for me, I feel like this is just kind of the vegan norm, which I'm like, somebody's got to change this. But the prices are still very high. Like it's doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, I definitely understand. I mean, there's the whole probably economic side of it all, but for people who are just wanting to try vegan foods, I feel like there should be at least an option or a range for the prices that we can get. It's like if your cheapest thing you have is like $12 and it's just like four fried pickles, then I mean that's to me that's like that's an issue. But like I said, I feel like that's kind of with all, or at least most vegan restaurants or vendors. There's kind of like a higher charge that you have to pay for the food, and so that's why it's like it's kind of hard to experiment too when you're trying vegan foods because of the pricing. So some you might have a budget or a limit to what you want to spend for that day. And you see a lot of things, but you see things that are very expensive that may take up a lot of your budget. So you'll be like, if I try this and this and this, that's over. So I can only try these two. And you're not getting like a good range or a good experience from everything. So I wish, and that's not really like a Vegandale thing. That's just, like I said, that's just an overall thing. But I wish there were a lot more affordable choices. The food itself was cool. A lot of and I ended up getting a lot of desserts. I feel like the desserts are pretty, it's hard to go wrong with the dessert. So I felt like those were pretty good. So I got like ended up getting like some cookies and cupcakes. As far as food, it was like a few fried things, fried pickles, fried mozzarella sticks, has jambalaya, which was not good. I forgot where I got it from, but I'm not gonna blast them like that. Just be careful. And yeah, I ended up getting, I got some like fried mushroom and noodles, and that was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. So overall, the food was okay. I enjoyed it. What about yourself? How did you enjoy the food that they had there?
Well, yeah, your jambalaya, bruh, was dry as fuck.
Yeah.
I felt bad looking at it. I'm like, oh, that's sad. Uh, and I didn't know that you paid $12 for the pickles. I ate a whole pickle for a whole one of your pickles, but yeah, and you guys wait in that line for a long time. But food wise, I did enjoy the food that I got. I got this really delicious. Well, first of all, I got some corn soup from the corn soup King, I think is what it's called, the corn soup guys. I got
Mm.
a raw cheesecake with cashews from Collie Raw, and then I forget the name of the place. I think it's Passion something, but I got this delicious roti. So I got things this year that I didn't get last year or the year before. My strategy going into it was that I would try to go to places that I couldn't get to in prior years because of the long lines, knowing
Mm.
that the lines would probably be long this year as well. So that was kind of my thing going into it because I don't think you can ever truly experience everything in one Vegandale event. So I thought it was pretty good actually. The goal with Vegandale, like we said in our do's and don'ts, is to try something that you won't typically be able to get. And obviously, I think we both kind of prioritize the out of state businesses, but there were certainly a lot of vendors there that I do go to on the regular basis that I didn't prioritize just because you don't really have time to prioritize those. And it is very expensive. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to get around that one.
Yeah, that's just like I said, that's everywhere I've been to, like not just here, it's every city. And like I said, that may just be kind of the norm, a little bit too passionate on this subject, but there's got to be a way for, there to be just cheaper vegan food. And especially for, like I said, for people who are just wanting to try food out, that's probably like the biggest shock for, I'm sure, for a lot of people, just not necessarily being opposed to eating vegan food, but seeing the price and be like, well, I could get something else for that price or something. But yeah, overall, like I said, the food was good. The food was nice. Yeah, they did provide like some tables and chairs there at Clyde Warren, so that was nice as well. It wasn't enough for everybody, but there was some there. And
Yeah, couldn't bring a blanket. We brought a blanket, but couldn't really put it anywhere.
it was, yeah, there wasn't a lot of like space to kind of spread out and claim like a festival, and that's what I'm saying. Like this year, it didn't feel like a festival. It kind of felt like more just like a farmer's market or just like a small like a fair. I don't even know if that makes sense, the difference between fair and festival, but like a festival to me is just like a lot open grounds, a lot of room, for you to just kind of like chill and kind of claim. But here it was a lot more compact. And like I said, it was a little bit more intimate, and so you didn't have to like go far or travel for anything too far. But also there was like, even like toward the middle of the day, there were lines, and it was starting to get kind of packed, and then there was the wait like for one of my foods from the time I got into line to the time I got my food. It's like 45 to 50-minute wait. So it's just like, yeah, you can have a smaller festival, but like I said, it's going to be a limited number of vendors, so more people are going to go to these vendors, longer lines, and wasn't a great experience. It was okay, but I just remember like last year, it was super easy to just even like for like it was good to like try different things last year too. It was like, okay, these people have a really long line. Wait, these people don't have a long line. What do they have? What do they have? And it was like, oh, okay, I can eat that. I can try that. So it also just kind of gave you an opportunity to try something different as well. But um, yeah, and so I would say like this year's was okay, but compared to last year's, I just preferred last year's. What about you? I know you've also been to Vegandales here in Dallas in the past. How would you kind of rank this year's up as opposed to the other times?
I thought this year's was fun. I was there the whole time. Convenience factor, 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. I do feel like last year was more fun. I think last year, 2023, Vegandale Dallas was my favorite one, but this year would be second. So I would rank last year number one, 2024 number two, and then 2022 would be last because that first year was in November. It was really cold, like very, very cold. And the lines were very long that year. And I don't feel like I got a lot of food. And
Mm,
that was the first year that they had it in Dallas. So I think they were just trying to figure everything out. But then
right.
last year, they moved it up a month to October, and the weather was much better. I think we were just used to everything being in Addison, and there was a lot of interest in it as well. And then this year it was in September, so they moved it up even earlier, and it was complete opposite of the first year where it was too cold. This year it was definitely more hot. I still enjoyed it. I still had a really good time, but I agree with you. I think last year was definitely better. Would you
So
go to another Vegan Dale in the future?
so I would say that. So like I said, I've been to the past, so I guess it'll be three. So I've been to all three Vegandale Dallases. And like I said, I kind of get the idea of what it is, what they have, what they're serving. There's really not that much differences. So I would say if they had the same, like everything the same from this year, and as far as like vendors and performances and whatever, it's still at Clyde Warren, then no, I wouldn't have any interest in going back. But if they were to provide like something new, a different experience at a different location, just a larger venue, a larger grounds, then yeah, I would definitely want to go again. But otherwise, if it's like the same, then no, I have no interest in going back. But what about you?
I have chatted with some of my friends about going to Vegan Dale Chicago or going to another Vegan Dale in a different state. So do have interest in doing that
Yeah.
because then you get to try different vendors from that state and you get to a whole new experience. You get to see how other states are doing it and you get a performer. So I'm
Absolutely.
definitely gonna try that next year. I would probably go back to Dallas just for the convenience factor. It's right. I live here. I'm not coming up from Austin like you, even though
Mm.
it won't be as fun without you there, bruh. So it's okay. We'll FaceTime you in. But I think I'll still go. I see your point. It's gonna be the fourth year. It's not gonna be a whole lot different. So I won't be as, excited about it, I don't think. So I have a question. I think there's kind of mixed feelings about Vegandale within the community in Dallas. So I heard some people commenting like they don't want to have any part of it. And then some people even commented on the page saying, what does this have to do with veganism? And I think they expect a vegan festival, people to be out there with signs and they would hope that the proceeds go to like a animal sanctuary or something along those lines, like a vegan business, even though Vegandale technically is a vegan business. Some people were critical of it, but I think Vegandale's response to that message and some of the other people in Dallas too, also like the attendees also responded and said, well, look, we did like enjoy ourselves, like we did connect with like-minded people and so it kind of does have something to do with veganism in a sense, even though it's not like, you know, activism. And
Yeah.
Vegandale was saying the same. They're like, we're showing that people can go to a festival, listen to music, and eat food and not have to worry about what's on the menu. So, what do you think about that? And is there nuance to the festival conversation? And can you have different types of goals in terms of having a vegan festival? Or should there be a main purpose? And should it be more centered on activism?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would say I definitely understand like because there are a lot of businesses that have they are very upfront on like, hey, there's certain proceeds that go to this cause, or we're very dedicated for this as well. So when you think veganism, you think, oh, it's for the animals, but you don't really hear anything about Vegandale and them supporting animals. So I would say it'd be nice to have a little bit more transparency on Vegandale, as far as like who they are and like who's behind it and what they believe and what they like. Because not all vegans are the same. Like some people are vegan for certain reasons. And, is it okay to be vegan for the money? Okay, sure, I guess. But if as long as you're vegan, right? So it's just like it doesn't matter what the cause or what the reason is, as long as you're promoting veganism. And I think Vegandale does a really good job on promoting veganism. It highlights, features vegan vendors, for food, for merchandise. It brings a lot of vegans together to network, to socialize, to build bonds. And although their performers might not all be vegan, or certain aspects of the festival might not all be vegan, I think their intended goal is one that they're actually executing really well on, and that's just having a big festival that's featuring veganism and puts veganism in spotlight. So um, I definitely agree. Like I said, there should be some type of transparency as to who the promoter is behind Vegandale. I'd like to know. Like it's not a requirement, but I'm just kind of curious. But yeah, no, I don't think all activism has to be, holding signs and, doing whatever and shouting out certain things. So I don't know. I think it's good activism on its own.
Yes. I agree with the transparency factor. It would be nice to see a face behind Vegandale. And the fact that they kind of censor comments and the feedback survey, like I said, was not really a feedback survey, that pisses me
Mhm.
off a little bit.
Yeah.
I want like I understand like not wanting to be attacked, and I hope that they listen to this conversation right here because we're able to provide feedback without attacking, and we're able to see the good and the bad, and we're able to see that, like you said, they are trying and they're succeeding at making veganism a very successful and big thing. So yeah, hopefully we get a little bit more transparency. So another thing I wanted to comment on is last year I saw the stat of Vegandale Dallas that said that more than 50% of the vendors were black owned. And I don't know what the stat is this year, but just kind of looking around, you could see that there were a lot of black owned and POC owned vendors, and even just not just the vendors, but the audience, the attendees. Like it was very I feel like it was a very diverse crowd, and I thought
Mhm.
that was really cool to see. Like there's veganism is more far-reaching than I think it's ever been. What do you think about that? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
Yeah, no, I noticed that myself as far as like the vendors, a lot of the vendors being black, or at least like the workers. And like I said, I know some of the vendors that had some of the owners there, and some vendors were just like workers and stuff like that. But definitely saw a lot of black and people of color at Vegandale as far as the vendors and the owners. But like you said, even the crowd, like it was awesome to see so many different cultures, different races, different people there at Vegandale. It was, and it goes to the point to where like veganism is for everybody. It's not just for one certain group, whoever they may be. And to go along with the statistic, I think it was last year, but it probably still is true that the biggest or the largest growing population within veganism is the Black population. So, and I think like all the foods that I've gotten were from Black owned businesses as well. So yeah, no, it's great to see diversification in Vegandale and seeing that, face to face, not just say, oh, yeah, this is a stat, but actually seeing the people and seeing the owners and meeting the owners as well. So no, that was great. That was good to see. And I'm kind of curious now as well. Like I know they do other cities, but I can't imagine. Well, maybe. Well, I know. I really can't imagine there'd be like other cities where there's such a huge show out as well for people of color. Because I think Dallas and being in the South, and I think this is probably the only being dealt in the South, if I'm correct, or if I'm thinking of it right. But I feel like it is they're more likely to show out here in Dallas rather than in New York. And obviously New York is like a melting pot as well. So I'm sure there's just other cultures as well there that's represented. But I mean, there was just a lot of good representation of Black vendors and Black guests at Vegandale Dallas.
Absolutely. I want to also call out, I'm not sure who knows about this, but Scott Bernhard, who has been doing all the vegan deals since 2022, at least I think even more before that, laid his mother to rest. She passed away. So he laid his mother to rest the night before the Dallas Vegan Deal I saw on his Instagram. So I just wanted to say RIP and send well wishes over to him. It's remarkable to see that. And I think she passed like a month ago, maybe less. But it's remarkable to see that he's still doing all the vegan deals in spite of all of that. I'm sure, the grieving process is different for everybody. Maybe in doing it is helpful, as a distraction and just to kind of be around, the community, the vegan community and people kind of spreading their love to him and their support. So I feel like if I were in his situation, I might find it to be a healing process to continue to go back to work. But
Mhm.
I'm, wishing the best, hoping that he's able to grieve and do so in a healthy way. But I also feel like in the fact that Dallas was smaller, I kind of saw him. I don't know if you caught it, but he was kind of able to roam around and
Mhm.
wasn't as busy as I think like other cities would be demanding of him to
Right.
be. So it was nice to see that he was able to be a little bit more relaxed at this one. But obviously he did go up there and and hype up the crowd towards the end when all the VIP people started rolling in to the best that he could because it's I mean it's hard to do that for a small group of people. But yeah, I just
Yeah.
wanted to do a call out on that because I can't imagine having to go through that situation.
Yeah, no, that's sweet. Yeah, and I did end up seeing him walking through. I was like, oh wow, he's taller than I thought he was. Like
Yeah.
it's like crazy to see him up in person. But yeah, and that's crazy. I also like just started really following him this past summer. So I didn't know he was I guess he must like be the MC or something. I didn't know he was also that like last year here at Dallas. So it's kind of cool to see him in person and see some influencers and some people you see on the internet. But yeah, no, it's that's great that he continued to work and I'm sure, like you said, just being around like-minded people and understanding and empathetic people that he was able to really go through the situation he's gone through.
Yes. All right, Alex. Is there anything else that you want to get off your chest?
No, no, it's Vegandale was good. Like I said, if I were to rate it, like if last year was, I would say last year was about a 9. I would say 9 out of 10. I would say this year was about a 6.5 or a 7. Like it was good, it was solid. I enjoyed it. Just wasn't as good as last year's, but it was still good. So I appreciate Vegandale continue putting on these events. They definitely help with, getting people to come together trying having non-vegans explore different options, new foods, new cuisines, and just overall promoting veganism. So appreciate it.
Mic drop. Haven't done a mic drop for you in a while. All right, guys. Well, I hope that you got some insight from this Vegan Dale review. Hopefully, you resonated with some of our comments. If whether you went or didn't go to Vegan Dale, please like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we will definitely be seeing y'all on the next one.
Peace.